German wine, one of my very favorite topics. And I would be quick to tell you that half of my personal cellar is German Riesling. And many other master sommeliers I know in a similar position that they literally have dozens, or in some cases, over 100 cases of German Riesling in their cellar. And we tend to get a little crazy about German wine, but and the easy reason is because it's such transparent wine that it so accurately reflects the place, the terroir, that it's derived from. And plus, it's such a delightful pleasure to drink. So lots to talk about. The photo you're looking at is of the Middle Mosel, taken, it looks like, in the early fall. And the village of Trittenheim is on the foreground on the right side. And you can't see it, but behind that would be, several vineyards that are important to that village. But also in the background, in the center of the screen, you're looking at Peaceport and the bridge at Peaceport, but also the great Piece Portugal Trüppchen, one of the Grand Cru vineyards in the Middle Mosel. So lots to talk about in this picture alone, just in terms of the great vineyards facing south or southwest. In a region that is so far north, where sunlight during the growing season is so critically needed to ripen grapes consistently. So let's get started. Lots to talk about. So the challenge of learning German wine are several-fold, and there's really two countries that cause great concern for students in wine, and one of them certainly is Italy, and for good reason. Italy is 20 small countries that somehow were unified in the 19th century, and such a range of cultures. When you consider a place like Alto Adige in the north, where they don't speak Italian, they speak German, and then moving all the way down to Sicily, which is closer to Tunisia and Africa than it is Rome. So again, a great diversity, and just over 1,000 grape varieties, 900,000 plus vineyards. So the sheer scale of Italy is really, really daunting. Germany's a different thing altogether. And I think with Germany, it's the language that can be such a challenge for students. But to me, realistically, the real challenge with German wine is that there are two classifications that have to be learned. And the first, of course, is German wine law that applies to every bottle of wine produced in country. But the second is the VDP, and we'll certainly talk about them. They have their own classification for dry wines, which is probably the most important development in Germany in the last 50 years. And language and pronunciation, but also there are 13 regions, and we will cover about 2/3 of them in a little bit of detail later on in the seminar. So an important strategy I want you to consider now would be to take a look at Germany, especially the top wines, and put them in the same mental context as Burgundy, because you're dealing with single varietal wines, generally speaking, and you're also dealing with regions that produce grapes, just single varietal wines as well. And in terms of the names of the wines themselves, you have two words on the label, and one of them is the village and the other one is a vineyard, exactly like Burgundy. And of course, with the VDP classification as of 2012, you're looking at Premier Cru versus Grand Cru vineyards. So there's a map of Germany, and lots to take a look at here. If you're flying in country, usually you're flying into one or two different places, either Munich in the southeast, or usually Frankfurt, which is in the west, southwest. And most people fly into Frankfurt, and if you do, of course, you're literally 45 minutes from the Rheingau. But the important thing to point out on this map is that really, if you consider the general rule that a majority of the world's Vitis vinifera vineyards are planted between 30 and 50 degrees latitude, either in the northern or southern hemisphere, most of the vineyards, in Germany are planted right up against the 49th parallel. And so hence, historically, getting grapes ripe consistently in Germany has been a huge concern. And I would say that held true all the way until about 1990. And at that point, we really began to see climate change affecting the German wine industry. And so one of my first questions I might put to you is, just given the climate in Germany, how has that changed the wine industry over the last 25 years? And we will answer that in a few slides to come.